Adam Webster here, you there. The great hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s are on the air. And I'll tell you something, I've had the pleasure of speaking to many famous people over the years, but I don't think anyone would be more legendary. Maybe I've had some as legendary, but no one would be more legendary than my guest right now on the telephones, Kenny Rogers. Good morning.
Oh, thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Indian Ranch on Webster Lake this Saturday night, and you're going to play all the big songs that people expect from you.
I promise you I'm doing 23 hits. I went to hear Ray Charles one time, and he didn't do Georgia on my mind, and it really made me mad because he was my hero, but I went to hear Georgia on my mind. So in my case, I'm doing everything certainly you expect to hear.
I was surprised to see that Kenny Rogers is getting inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame this fall. How is there a Country Music Hall of Fame and you're not in it?
I think what happened is when I first came into country music, I was in jazz the first 10 years of my musical life, and I think they felt I was taking it too pop. I actually am glad it's happening now rather than at the peak of my success, because I'm not sure I would have appreciated as much when I had so much going on. But now it's a very cool thing, and I do truly, truly appreciate it.
You talk about your days of jazz, and then you got into some folk and some rock. We just played Just Dropped In prior to your calling in.
I do that in the show, and I actually have a film of me doing it with the first edition when I was 35, I guess.
Yeah.
So I had black hair, and first edition was doing it on some television show, and I play that film behind the song as I sing it.
You talk about your black hair. When was the last time you saw yourself without a beard?
Wow. The first edition, what happened is when the group started, we were all in the New Christy Minstrels,
yeah,
and we decided to start our own group because they wouldn't let us sing on their records. And the guys didn't really want me in it because I was too old. I was like 3 or 4 years older than everyone else. And so I was set about making myself look younger. I grew long hair, I had an earring in my ear, and I grew the beard. And it's been kind of a signature beard ever since then.
Now, your musical career has been relaunched many times over the 5.5 decades that you've been in the business. The country, the crossover stuff, working with people like Lionel Richie and Dolly Parton, who are very important people in your life, both personally and professionally.
Absolutely. He and I started out together because I loved the Commodores. And one of my favorite albums ever was the Ray Charles Modern Sounds of Country Music. And what it was him singing R&B to country music. And I thought, well, what would happen if I sang country music to R&B? Because I think that country music is the white man's rhythm and blues. That's where all the pain is. So I called Lionel up, and I just said, hey, I'd love to record one of your songs. And I was working in Vegas at the time. And I said, can you come over and talk to me? And he said, well, I don't think I have any time for about 6 weeks. I said, okay, I'll tell you this. It's going on a greatest hits album, and we'll probably sell 5 or 6 million. He said, how's 8:30 Thursday night for you? And that's how we became friends. He came over, and I talked him into moving from Tuskegee to L.A., and he lived in one of my guest houses in a house I had for about 2 years. So we really became good friends. We traveled around the world together.
Talking with Kenny Rogers, who grew up in poverty in Texas, and talk about the true rags to riches stories. Now you're talking about guest houses and have people working for you, and just some amazing stops along the way.
It's one of the things that I think that's the problem, is that when you start with nothing, you really kind of feel you have to do something. And God knows I've done that. I've really lived my life, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
What's the one question that you get asked over and over again, and you say, if I never get asked this again, it wouldn't bother me one bit?
Where's Dolly?
Yeah?
Every time. Because they think we just spend all this time together. I see her about twice a year. It's always wonderful when I do. But I'm telling you, that's the most asked question of me, and I love her to death.
I heard a quote, I think you were on with Anderson Cooper, and you said something along the lines of, I might not be the best singer in the world, but I want to leave people thinking I'm a great entertainer.
Yeah, I started saying that it's not important that anybody leave there saying he's the best singer I've ever heard, but it's important that everybody leaves saying, I enjoyed that.
this Saturday afternoon, Indian Ranch on Webster Lake. The great Kenny Rogers, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Adam. I'll talk to you. Hopefully you'll come see us when we get up there.